Hello there and welcome. This is as always Mikhail or Michael speaking, and before I start this video I want to say thank you all who decided to support me financially, be it through Patreon, PayPal or Super Thanks. I really appreciate your generosity, so thank you friends and have a blessed day. Now today's video I will start in Avdiivka, and first things first, let's discuss the recent Russian capture of the village of Orlivka. All throughout the last few days, Russian forces were actively squeezing Ukrainian formations out of the village, first to their northwestern outskirts, and eventually out of the village completely. Here is exactly how much territories in total Russians captured within the last 24 hours, and as you can see with it, taking full control over the village. Ukrainians fully retreated from the village and took defense along these force lines, this road right here, and right in front of the village of Semenivka. With this, the first village that served an important role for the second Ukrainian defensive line, which was Berdychi, Semenivka, Orlivka, and Umansky, officially fell. And with it, Russians successfully penetrated this defensive line, and this is surely a sign of more territorial changes to come. Village of Orlivka, or any village for that matter, be it Berdychi, Semenivka, Umansky, or Orlivka, is an Achilles heel for Ukrainian formations. As soon as Russians would have captured one, capturing the next ones would be just a question of time. As you can see with the fall of Orlivka, Russians now gain ability to directly storm village of Semenivka, not only from partially captured Berdychi, but from Orlivka as well. And with those two roads now under Russian control, and these two roads from the northern flank as well, just this road remains as a supply line. Thus, it is absolutely important for Ukrainians to continue to hold out Russians and fight for Semenivka for as long as possible, because if Russians are to successfully storm it and capture it, they will acquire important stronghold and will gain ability to attack across the entire front line, not only to the flank and rear of Ukrainian formations fighting in Berdychi, but also in the direction of Umansky, which is the last settlement within the second line of Ukrainian defense, which for now remains to be intact. Of course, this settlement is used as a supply point, as there is a road that leads from Novoselivka, Persha to first Umansky and then to Orlivka. But now with the fall of Orlivka, Russian forces themselves can use this road to attack not only in the direction of Umansky, but again to the flank and rear of the remaining forces in Tonenki. Like I said, Orlivka is like Achilles' heel. And now, as the Ukrainian defense is hit at exact points of their weakness, it seems that Russians will use everything in their power to exploit this situation. So again, this recent capture is a sign of more things to come. At this point in time, not only do I want to know your opinion on what I've just said, what do you think of the possibilities on this front? But also, if you liked this video so far, I would like to ask you to consider supporting it with a like, comment, and of course, a subscription. Those actions are extremely important for this channel's growth, as well as to my emotional well-being. Thank you in advance, and let's move on. As Russians are conducting these kind of operations all across this front, it seems Ukrainians launched an attack in the direction of Russian positions located in front of Krasnogorovka in attempt to relieve some pressure in Berdychi settlement. And as a result of those offensive operations, were able to advance ever slightly. Here you can see how much exactly territories Ukrainians captured within the last 24 hours. And as you can see, they were able to recover some of their recently lost positions. In my opinion, those attacks are like drop in the sea. It is highly unlikely that Ukrainians will be able to break through Russian defense on the northern flank of Avdiivka, but of course the possibility still remains. If that is to be the case, Ukrainians will surely spread their attacks in the direction of Stepove and Berdychi to the flank and rear of the Russian formations currently busy fighting there, as well as in the direction of Novoselivka Druga and of course Novobakhmutivka. With this, of course, this is a possibility, but from what I can tell, Ukrainians do not have resources to do that. Again, if you agree or disagree, comment section is there for a reason. But in any way, of all continuous and fruitless Ukrainian counterattacks that took place within the last 24 hours all across this front, only this one actually achieved some success. Then at the very last, let's discuss situation near the settlement of Davka, where it seems Russian forces were able to advance ever slightly along this road to the east of Tabaevka itself in the general direction of Kotlerivka and Kislivka, in the general effort of encircling and capturing those two settlements. Those are the territories Russian forces were able to acquire within the last 24 hours. As you can see, it is nothing much. However, slowly but surely, Russians are advancing in the direction of Orlivka, and soon will gain ability to storm it from the south. And with continuous Russian assaults from the east and northeast, with all the pressure applied, Ukrainians might decide to leave this salient and completely withdraw from those two villages. Generally speaking, Ukrainians occasionally attempt to retake, for example, village of Davka, which although is located on disadvantaged position for the Russians as it is in the lowlands and Russians are forced to fight an uphill battle, to this day Ukrainians are unable to reclaim the village. And perhaps this recent successful Russian attack is a sign of a changed strategy. Perhaps Russians are looking out to even out the front for a potentially more organized and massive push in the direction of Ivanivsky, Stepova-Novoselivka, Pishani, in the general direction to push Ukrainians away from Tabaivka and take control over the hills to the west of the village. So as you can see, there's some potential for those Russian attacks. But again, so far, this is a result of mostly positional style of warfare, with several Russian breakthroughs looming in the background. Again, slowly but surely, Russians are accumulating forces on almost all of the fronts. So perhaps we are to expect something big to happen in the middle of the spring or at the beginning of the summer. With this I end today's video. Hopefully it was to your liking and was informative enough. If it was, you know what to do. All I can do is say thanks. As always, humanity calls me to condemn all violence against human beings. Have a good day and always remember, Russia will be free and great.